radio. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Anime Freak. Well, formerly Anime Freak. I used my old intro by accident just now. Ha 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 ha! Hello, Internetigans, I'm Zazerwit, and I'm bringing you another speed painting vlog. Oh yes, this time I've just come in off of exercising for half an hour on a treadmill. Yes, I am a friggin' hamster, and now I'm so hyped up I'm not even sitting down. I'm doing this standing up. Why? Because there's no time to sit down. Plus the chair is all the way in the other side of the room, and I don't have that kind of time. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get into this piece right here. I call it By Moonlight. I know it's a sunrise, but bear with me. Well, let me talk you through this piece and what I was thinking of. When I got into my head to do it, I was thinking about my feelings of Sailor Moon. And also about color selection, color choice, that sort of thing. Actually, let me go across the room, actually. Apparently I do have that kind of time. Yeah. I want to talk seriously about artistic things of artitude. Praying to God my OBS doesn't crash like it did through the speed paint of this. So it might be a bit slower than used to. But what I was trying to do here was just encapsulate my entire feelings, my impression of Sailor Moon. Is this impressionistic? No. So yeah. The whole vibe of the show is a teenage girl gets literally the fate of the universe placed on her shoulders. And that's, you see that here, that's being represented by the moon, her past. Sailor Moon is a reincarnated moon princess. Reincarnated, I don't know if that's, I don't know if that is exactly how it's supposed to be. Reincarnation, rebirth, replacement, time, the time stream in Sailor Moon is really, really weird. Okay, just into that conversation right there. So you see the city, you see the echoes of a much larger city in the background in pink, in the foreground city in black, the sunrise, the little shadows, skewed those across using the blur tool. I'm actually have the ability to zoom in now. Yeah, the blur tool didn't quite work out the way I wanted, but that's okay. I did the background ahead of time, so that way I knew what Sailor Moon would be reacting to. That makes it easier to paint to. Especially, like, if you try and paint your character without a background, you're gonna get lost real fast. Let me organize my thoughts here a moment. Rare event for me to organize my thoughts. I actually painted this last night, and I took a day to just reflect on it. Well, now it's the 27th, where I'm recording this, but painted this on the 25th. Like I said, I was trying to encapsulate the whole feelings of a teenage girl having the whole weight of the future come down on her, and that's being represented by the moon up here, and she's throwing up her hand, and there's a big shield of light coming across the city. What of it she can save? Sort of Majora's Mask coming down, representing her whole world as Sailor Moon, all the good, all the bad, the whole fact that she and her friends are the last surviving vanguard of the ancient civilization on the moon. If that sounds ridiculous to you, wait till you see the show. Haha. But I wanted to get a little more serious in terms of painting. Let me get down in here. Down by her skirt. Do not take that out of context. And yes, if you look really, really close, you can see little bits where I didn't fill in and stuff like that. But I gave myself a time limit of a couple of hours. And I think I did a fairly good job. And down by her skirt, you see how I made the skirt just a tad bit transparent. You can see her boot through there. And in the manga, it was always a bit transparent, at least when they did the color paintings of it. So I was trying to get that in there. But the whole it's either a sunset or a sunrise. I think it's supposed to be a sunset in my mind. The color selection certainly deems that. Yeah. Trying to remember all the show right now. Sailor Moon's a long series. You're not going to get through it in an afternoon. It's almost 100 episodes, the whole thing. So sketching Sailor Moon herself right here. Let us start with the forest foreground and move our way backwards into this. I started with Sailor Moon here, just drew out her body, the rough gesture. I did that a while back. Then I came back with a further knowledge of anatomy, having studied some figure drawing books, particularly the book called Figure Drawing, Designs and Innovations by Michael Hampton. And I use that knowledge to sort of create shapes of her body, like the forearm and the upper arm and the body. I still have a problem with trunks. That is the space between the chest and the abdomen. Okay, the ass for you immature people out there. But, and the leg coming off there, and the tibia, so forth, and into the boot. The boot's a little disappointing. Then again, it's the first time I drew a boot. So there we are. I am very satisfied with that. And the gesture could be a little more action into it, but I wanted to make it more like pleading, like she's desperately trying to save both worlds and not destroy everything at the same time, because that was one of her big responsibilities in the show. Yeah, you think Star versus the Forces of Evil was epic? No, Sailor Moon. It was literally everyone or no one in that show. Those were the stakes. So pretty high up there. She was even trying to save the villains at one point. I'm trying to talk in terms of Sailor Moon without spoiling anything, because there is a lot to spoil, as predictable as it is. But, I don't like give away spoils very often. And plus, I'm here to talk about my art, which I'm getting away from because my brain is melting on me. I was at work for 8 hours before I did this, and then I went straight into exercising, and then I came in here full of energy, and slowly it died down as I tried to calm myself down in order to talk about this more rationally. There are about 40 layers to this painting. And like I said, I stretched out. What I did to make the buildings and how they have this stretched out like that, I made the buildings on sort of a mirrored plane. So I took the block tool and just made monoliths, basically, of each building. And I made a horizon line. And then I made each building be equally high off the horizon as it was deep. Basically, the exact middle point. There's a better way to describe this. I know that. I know there is. I took English in college. School systems, yay. And so once I had them completely even across each other, sort of mirrored surface. There's a way to say it. Mirrored surface of these towers. I just blur tooled them away from where I wanted to put the sun, away from there, and then I used that central point as a focus for all the light, where all the light is coming from. And you have the moon being reflected above. It's reflecting the light of the upper atmosphere, and only a tiniest little portion. If you look really, really close, you can see tiny bits of the green that I use to represent, which I use because I know of the green flash. Yes, I am using that in this, the green flash. It's not from Pirates of the Caribbean. It's an actual thing that happens because I think it's because of nuclear testing. I'm not entirely sure about that, or it's a natural phenomenon that occurs very rarely when such and such is in such a position. When the stars align with Aquarius, and the groundhog can see a shadow, that whole thing. I wanted to give this surrealist feeling, like she's on top of this lake thing, because that's a motif in Sailor Moon. Like she's on top of still water a lot, or a mirror, and you see her reflected down there. And that kudos to the animators, by the way. They do reflections a lot in that show, and they really make a convincing job of it. Especially when the show really kicks up its animation for the finale episodes. Because I think they only had like a week to make each episode or something like that in terms of animation. I might be getting that wrong, but I think that's the time limit because they aired 52 episodes in a year. I might be getting some of this wrong. I'll have to look that up again. I have the Ultimate Sailor Moon Compendium over yonder. But that's even further away than the chair, so I'll leave it there for now. And let me go in close to her neck right here. Oh yeah, I'm really happy with the sunlight coming through behind her neck, making this big reflection and putting the rays and the beams coming through her. And we're seeing them because the reason you're seeing them in front of her, even though the light source is behind her, is not just because it's shining through. It's because your eyes actually have defects in them. That's why we see rays on points of light, because your eyes aren't perfect. And if you were to represent vision the way a machine would see it completely, everything would just be a complete circular gradient. They wouldn't have rays and bands and this sort of I guess you'd say, wasting of outer shapes, like I'm doing here with the ovals. Because the machine sees everything almost perfectly. It has a tough time interpreting that to our brains, because our brains are very, 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 very biased. So that's why you're seeing it like that. Yeah, I've explained that very thoroughly. Yeah, very thoroughly. So doing the rays and the bit was fun. I just took the blur tool and just sort of whisked, Bob Rossed it all together. Whisked out, whisked in, whisked out, whisked in, whisked out, whisked in. To sort of on straight lines to make it consistent. The shading on the monoliths and on Sailor Moon herself, I use red tones because the light source is red. It looks green and white, but it is a red light source because it's reflecting through the lower part of the atmosphere, meaning that we're only going to be seeing the red bands of light. And we are perceiving the higher bands of light, the bluer, greener, whiter shades, because that's the actual light source and it's sending us all this information. But ultimately, the reflections and so forth are going to be red. All the shadows. I could have done a better job of the blending on her reflections, but I was using the charcoal tool. And when I use the blur tool on the charcoal tool, I find I lose a lot of this texture that I like. I know it does not look realistic, but this is not a realistic Sailor Moon. I mean, for God's sakes, there are outlines everywhere, which I colored. And I have yet to master lineless art. I was trying to make her arm... God, what do you call those? The bands of cloth coming off her arm. You know what I mean? When she goes into crisis mode, Sailor Moon Crisis, she has these little frilly bits on her shoulder. Those are usually lace and slightly transparent. It's hard to do in animation. That's why you only see that repeated loop of animation show it when she transforms. Her eye, I really like how her eye came out. I really could have painted that anything other than black. But, you know, I gave myself a time limit, and I said what I get done in that time limit is what I get done in that time limit. And this is what I got done, and I am actually happy with it, despite all the flaws that I can see. I don't know if you can see them all. Try not to point them all out. The front little rose petal-y sort of noise is something you see often in the show, and the noise in the background to be acting like stars, and a little bit of the graffiti tool across the stars. I mean the complete black background to give this impression of a rising night. Because it's never completely pitch black on the opposing horizon on a sunset. Because the Earth is almost completely parallel with the light line, so there wouldn't be a completely black thing. Plus, our eyes need a time period to adjust. So if you look away, you look directly at a light, and you look away, you'll see the inverted color of whatever you're looking at. Because, like I said, our eyes are stupid. Well, I didn't say they were stupid. Watch me go blind for insulting the eyes. So yeah, I'm very happy with this piece right here. Oh, quick update. I just noticed we hit 400 subscribers on YouTube. I just now looked. Oh, I have to do a tweet real fast. Hang on. Okay. I have to plan a special video for that. That is awesome. I don't want to scream into the microphone again. Oh, I should have made notes. Note to self: write notes. This is the most surreal note you'll ever see. There you go. What else can I talk about with this? So the shadows and on the ground down here, they're red as well. Because if you use more logical shading for this, much darker, it would look a little too contrasted with how light I made the shadows on her. Because if you make the shadows on the shadow on the ground much darker, you'd have to darken the shadows on her more, and I didn't want to do that because I wanted to make it feel a little more, like I said, surreal, dreamlike. Because Sailor Moon does have this dreamlike quality to it, the whole show. As cheesy as it can be, any Sailor Moon fan will be the first to admit the show is cheesy as all fuck. So I said the F word. Shame on you. Naughty. Naughty. Don't say the F word while you're talking about a kid's show. I know, damn it. I slipped out. I'm tired. I'm trying to think with my brain. You know how hard it is for me to use my brain? I'm working on another has-been comic right now. I use my brain for that. I can't waste it here. Current events, damn it. Well, not current, Halloween. I don't know. How fast does time move on the internet again? Oh, it's already yesterday. Okay. So, I did do a little redesign on her chest because, little cloth band. I was trying to get a more Power Ranger-esque feel to it, you know, with the boobages, as I've said before, being cupped in, you know, maybe more inside of her handkerchief, her sailor's handkerchief. Ankerchief. The sailors wear ankerchiefs. They throw them in the ocean. It stops the boat. Ha 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 ha. Accidental pun. Oh, I spit on my screen. Oh no, don't spit on the screen. That's disgusting. People are gonna think about that, and then they're gonna think to themselves, "Who the hell is this asshole talking about Sailor Moon as if he knows anything?" Well, I know one thing about Sailor Moon. Her real name is Usagi Tsukino. Tsukino. Yeah, that's what that is. Yeah. So, thank you so much for watching. Yeah, if you have any questions further that I can't think of at the moment because brain's stupid, ask them in the comments below. Thank you so very much. I'll be working on a new comic. The Andrea update will be coming out sometime next month. I am trying to get that animatic together. I hit a few roadblocks. Roadblocks being I can't find the damn things. You do something on physical paper, the problem is you can misplace it. And so I'm been tearing apart my desk, looking apart for this one thing. I could redraw the whole thing, but consistency and all that, they're very old drawings. Might be a little jarring. Or I'd redraw the whole thing, which would take forever. It would not come out next month. It'd be the month after next. So, yeah, that's a bit of a crisis. In the meantime, I'm practicing my drawing. I'm doing a little recolors. I'm holding in my hands a little coloring of, what's her name? Vanellope von Schweetz. There we are, from Wreck-It Ralph. I'm also going to start, once I'm done with the 100 autos, I'm going to have a little pink sketchbook right here that I'm going to use to start drawing characters, cartoon characters, in opposing poses to the images that I take them from. So if the character is just standing around, they'll be doing a dynamic pose. And if they're doing a dynamic pose, they'll be just standing around like, hey, what's up? That sort of thing. That's what I want to do. Yeah. Yeah, I'm surrounded by all this great art on my mood board here. Hope I've entertained you enough. How long are we going on this vlog? Alright, 17 minutes. I'm going to end it right here. That's a bit much. That's a bit much. Thank you so much for listening to my drunken ramblings. Well, not drunken. You don't drink anymore because you can't. You literally can't. You have the same problem Markiplier does. I have something in common with Markiplier. Yay! We're both denied the pleasures of alcohol. Utah, here I come. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. You all have a very nice night. And I will see you in the next video when hopefully I am far more lucid. Or should I say, Lucifer, who is meeting a certain radio host in this comic I am drawing. Yes, yes, yes. And he's brought something for him. Yes. Are you spoiling the comic? No? Good. Because you haven't even drawn it yet. I mean, okay, you have a cartoon over here, but don't spoil it. You're losing my voice. Stop that. Go and get some throat coat tea and have a good night. You'll have a good night, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go torture some monkeys. He frightens me so much. Night.